Listen, I have never heard of this fragrance or this house in my entire life. Shout outs to Gator for always giving you guys, well, giving me, which allows me to give you guys a first look into new fragrances. I have no idea what to expect, but grab that drink, grab that snack, and let's get right to it. Welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the afternoon, and I am excited to be back. You guys don't know because I post episodes pretty much every single day or off and on, but I drop at least 7 pieces of great content for you guys a week. So for me, even though we haven't been dropping every single day like we used to, at least 7 days worth of content is going out and we're just cranking it out. So you guys don't really get to know the patches and stuff in my schedule, but I just spent 5 days in New Orleans. And since I had episodes already queued up, you guys didn't miss out on the content. But for me personally, I'm glad to be back home and getting it cracking. Let's get straight to it. This is from the house of 8 and Bob, and it is called Egypt. Shout outs to my man Gator for hooking me up with the 5 or the 3 ml sample of this fragrance. Never heard of 8 and Bob. It's a unisex fragrance that is Egypt. Man, you know what? Let me let you guys in on a little secret, because sometimes people correct me in the comments on if I missed the eau de parfum or if I reverse the order or whatever. You guys tell me what this is. It looks like the fragrance is called Egypt by 8 and Bob, but then the way they've packaged it, it looks like Egypt is the house and 8 and Bob is the fragrance. So I'm just going to show it to you guys. Egypt, 8 and Bob, in no particular order. This is a unisex fragrance, and let's get my initial impressions. Enough with the long talk. Give this some good spray action here. Again, this is a true initial first impression, as I do not know what I'm getting myself into. Never heard of the house or the frag. I like how Gator, when he gave me an assortment of fragrances, he put stuff he knows I've heard of, but then put in some, left field stuff. Always good to get you guys aware of the common, the uncommon, and everything in between. Because it's not only important to cover fragrances on an arrangement of price points, but different note compositions, different seasonal wears, different sneak peeks, different one-offs. It's important to just get all involved. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people shop in one place and one place only for fragrance, and they have no clue just the vastness that is the fragrance community and the various offerings that they have. Okay, initial impressions of this. I get like this very distinct, almost like powdery. It's like powdery yet dusty. Like it's powdery, but up top powdery, not like creamy powdery, if that makes sense. On the spectrum of like bright and dark, or like smooth and on the spectrum of smooth and harsh, this leans more towards the harsh, but not harsh in an unpleasing way, just more dusty, but it's still a dense type of like almost lavender and woody type of vibe. It's also got like a earthiness to it. I don't quite know how, like I can't just liken it to soil or other than just earthy, which I understand can be very generic. Like when I think earthy, I think, what's in the earth. You have plants, you have dirt, you have air, you know what I'm saying? That's what I think of when I think of earthy. And if I could compare it to anything in that regard, it almost just feels like the air that sits above a mossy earth, and so it's got a bit of mystery. It's got a bit of darkness to it. It's got a bit of floral to it, and it's very woody, and it's got some spices. Dark spices, though, almost spice bomby spices, not holiday at all. Just, kind of like a cinnamony earthiness to it. Let's go ahead and go straight to the window here, so we can see what the composition of this is. You guys are going to have to give me 1 second. I've got a little bit of an emergency text. Okay, let's get back to it. Yeah, so up top, okay, cool. We do have lavender. We do have moss. Lemon, there is an odd amount of brightness to this, even though it feels very much like dark leaning. There is some instances of kind of like brightness in the form of like freshness, like that fresh earth vibe. There goes that cardamom and nutmeg when we talk about that kind of spicy spice bomb extreme type of spice in there, just by about, I would say like 30%. Good amount. Definitely noticeable, adds to that dark mystere vibe, but definitely not the majority of the fragrance. I'm getting a ton of lavender and moss. Patchouli is absolutely a part of this fragrance, and I'm absolutely digging just kind of that vibe of like earthy, dark nature, you know, for lack of better words. The odor profile of patchouli here says an exotic bush that grows in India, leaves blah, blah, blah. It's sweet, dark, earthy, woody edge. In fact, I would say that this fragrance is described by this profile absolutely perfectly. It's slightly sweet. It's dark. It's very, 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 very earthy and woody. So that patchouli is, I feel like it's at least 40% of the fragrance. Maybe like 40% kind of this patchouli vibe and spices, just a little bit. Then like another 40% of lavender moss. And then maybe just tucked off in the background is like some sandalwood, leather, lemon vibes. Leather in this fragrance almost plays the same vibe as like Givenchy, you know, any of them. Not necessarily the bright ones, but the more seductive ones, like Privé, all of your dark, irisy, patchouli-ish vibes when it comes to Givenchy fragrances. It kind of has that type of allure, that type of sweetness, that type of spice. I think the difference here between this and something like Spice Bomb Extreme and like Givenchy darker fragrances is it's a little bit less sweet. It leans more on the earthiness, almost in the same way that Creed Aventus and Hacivat, how Hacivat kind of leans on more of that earthy, mossy take. It's got like very much of a rush of earthiness to it, not as pungent with the fruits. This is similar to that, like a Privé or Gentleman. I forget the names of them, but you know what I'm saying. The darker irisy, powdery, spicy, patchouli-ish renditions, various renditions in the Givenchy line. It's closer to the Givenchy than the I don't know, guys. Forgive me. I'm doing this live, so sometimes it's hard to like recall names and stuff. But again, it's kind of it's almost like a cross. Oh yeah, okay. So it's kind of a cross. It's leaning between like it goes to like Dior Homme Parfum, it goes into Spice Bomb Extreme, and it goes into like Privé, the Privé joint, leaning more on the Givenchy than the other two, but has elements of all of them. But the undercurrent that's like very much there is this like super earthy patchouli spices vibe, which just like, again, the air just above, like a foot or two above ground from a mossy, moist area in the woods is going to be the air. And that air, if you took a whiff of that, that's like 50 to 60% of this fragrance. And then it's kind of doused in like this slightly holiday spice, nutmeg, and then this like lavender. And that lavender, almost the way it bounces up against the other notes, kind of comes off almost irisy, but it's more fresh, less powdery, more dusty. I really like this fragrance. I would actually give it like an 8 or even a 9 out of 10. It's unique. It's reminiscent. It's fresh. It's not synthetic. And even if it was synthetic, if it was good synthetic, I would tell you it's not synthetic at all to me. It's nice for those of you guys who love like Dior Homme Intense, the Privé, Spice Bomb Extreme, Tom Ford Noir, Tom Ford Noir. It's in that realm, but it kind of has like a Hacivat flair, not in terms of anything else other than the moss patchouli aspect of Hacivat. That real earthy take on the spices and sweetness feels more mature and masculine. I would give this fragrance more. The more I smell it, the more I want to give it like a 9 out of 10. This is dense. This is cold weather, aeration, winter, fall, or bright but cold weather. This is dark and mysterious. This is date night, theater, lounge, bar, nightclub, anything along those lines. I think it sits semi-formal, like perfectly. I don't think it goes to formal at all. It's too sweet. It's not necessarily playful, but it feels like it's got like almost tips into playful. It's overly sweet. Not overly sweet, but overly sweet in terms of it's too sweet in my mind to be like a super formal fragrance. And I also think it's too serious, too mysterious, too dark to sit casual. I think this is perfectly semi-formal. As far as the unisexness of the fragrance, I really feel like I think it sits perfectly unisex, but because I'm into fragrances like some of the dark stuff, Black Orchid and stuff from the Tom Ford line, and the Givenchy darker irisy lipsticky fragrances, and DHI and DHP, which some males tend to shy away from because they think they lean a little too feminine with the sweetness and the lipsticky vibe. But to me, that stuff's like really masculine. And then when you put patchouli and earthy vibes and moss into the fragrance even more, that drives it more masculine. So I think it actually leans like 70-30 more masculine. But I do think on a woman, more mature woman, this could be like really seductive. The projection and longevity, you're going to get longevity above 8 hours with a fragrance like this. Projection is nice, maybe about 4 to 6 feet, I think, of constant projection. Again, this is a similar wearing experience as Dior Homme Parfum in terms of the projection and longevity. It's going to sit on clothes, it's going to project, it's going to sillage, it's going to leave that seductive trail. It's going to, just pop off of skin. Not necessarily room filler, but room statement maker. And I like this take on a familiar type of DNA. Again, a kind of Hacivat fresh mossy patchouli touch on the Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Parfum, Tom Ford Noir, Noir Extreme, Spice Bomb Extreme DNA. Age. I actually think that a young man could really pull this off as just feeling more mature. Teenager to absolute adult, I think it would shine mostly, though, on somebody between the ages of like 35 and 45. That's going to be the sweet spot for a fragrance like this. It's classy. It has dimension. It's dark and seductive. It's earthy. It's got a nice chunk of like earthy masculinity to it. Not earthy like soil, but earthy like this silky, rich, dark moss. But it's ultra fresh due to the lemon note, even though you don't smell lemon at all. Absolutely phenomenal fragrance. My new take is 9 out of 10. You should definitely pick it up. This is Egypt 8 and Bob for men and women. And you are rocking with me in the scent bubble. Let me know if you guys have this fragrance. And as usual, like, comment, and subscribe. Talk to me. I talk back. And let me know if you guys have smelled this fragrance. Is this common? I haven't heard of it. Is it niche? Let me know, man. This fragrance is absolutely phenomenal. I'm definitely going to be picking up a bottle if it's affordable. Just to give you guys a quick outro, looks like this is going for $140 for 100 ml online. And you could probably get it cheaper at certain online retailers. This is the Scent Bubble, and I hope you all have a blessed week. Until next time, peace.